Welcome back to the Fantasy Endgame. I'm Pierre, he's Chris. We're going to tell you which players deserve a spot on your bench this coming week. All right, Chris, who's your first bust?
Well, let me start by saying I really hope I'm wrong about this one because I'm very worried about Javonte Williams this week. Yes, he's getting enough snaps to be what we want him to be in fantasy, but Melvin Gordon is still getting a decent amount of work. And now they're going up against the 49ers, and this is one of the toughest run defenses in the league. And this offense, this Broncos offense, already struggling to put up points and to really move the ball. I don't see how Javonte has a great game this week. I really hope I'm wrong. I hope he falls into the end zone. Maybe he catches 5, 6, 7 passes to save his day, but I'm just looking at this matchup and I'm looking at this Broncos offense and I'm not liking what I'm seeing this week for Javonte. I know you can't bench him. I have him. I can't bench him either, but I'm really, really bracing myself for a terrible week here in week 3. But again, I hope I'm wrong and I hope everybody flames me in the comments and tells me I'm an idiot and Javonte goes off, but not loving Javonte in week 3.
Hey, look, you're not alone. A lot of people worried about that Broncos offense. Definitely a tough matchup. Yeah, you can't just bench him outright, probably, but don't expect a lot. And look, I do agree. I think that's going to be one of the lower scoring games this week. Two good defenses, two disappointing offenses. So I'm going to stay with that game on the other side. I'm going to go with Brandon Ayuk, a guy I had high hopes for this season. But look, here's the thing. It's not even about Jimmy G, because when Garoppolo came in last week, you know what? Ayuk was fine. He got some targets, 5 catches for 63 yards. That's not too bad, right? I think Ayuk will be fine season long. But not this week, because look, what he did last week, that was against Seattle. All right, this time on the road, going against Denver, has been a really good defense. They just limited Brandon Cooks to just 50-something yards, very low total yardage that they're allowing. And so Ayuk, he's just kind of boom or bust for the most part. I don't think he's booming this week. I just don't see it happening. So he's a guy I'm definitely keeping on my bench in week 3. All right, give me another guy you think is going to let us down.
Well, this guy's kind of let us down so far this entire season, and that is Juju Smith-Schuster. And it's easy to look and say, it's the Colts. This defense is terrible. And you're right, the defense is terrible. But losing Leonard has been a big blow to this defense, apparently. But my issues with Juju is not the matchup. It's his usage in this offense. Juju is what Juju is. He's a slot guy who can only run, routes that are very close to the line of scrimmage, very low A-dot routes. But guess what? They have this guy named Travis Kelce who does that better than Juju, probably. And they have 2 guys on the outside, MVS and McCole Hardman, who can do the more downfield stuff. So, sure, Juju could catch some passes in this game, but he's never going to be a guy who's going to rack up tons of yardage. And he's probably not going to be a guy who's going to get a lot of looks when they get near the goal line, because they have guys like Kelce, McCole Hardman, even CEH, who they use, on shovel passes and things like that. So for me, Juju, even in a great matchup like this, I just can't put him in my lineup. We haven't seen anything really, no semblance of a floor, no semblance of a ceiling. I just don't know what Juju is going to get you, even in a good matchup. I don't care. I'm benching him wherever I have him. Unless he's going to get, a 25% target share, which is never going to happen in this offense, he's just barely going to be usable. So Juju, sorry, I love the matchup, but you're on my bench.
Yeah, it's going to be just one of those seasons. Wide receiver by committee is the thing, I guess. Juju's going to be up and down. Who knows? But like you said, I think it's a Kelce week, not necessarily a Juju week. All right, so Chris, I'm pretty sure you won't argue with me on this one. I think DJ Moore is going to be a disappointment. All right, so specifically in week 3, let's talk about so far what he's done. So week 1, 3 catches for 43 yards on 6 targets. Week 2, 3 catches for 43 yards on 6 targets. No, that was not a glitch in the matrix. That's exactly what he did. The same thing 2 weeks in a row. The only difference is week 2 is he caught a touchdown. All right, but that's still not very inspiring. 3 catches. I mean, this is not a dynamic offense to begin with. Baker Mayfield is not the savior. I think we can agree with that. Moore is a talented receiver, but it doesn't matter. This is just not a great passing offense. And look, there weren't really tough matchups for them in the first 2 weeks. This time they get the Saints, which is a really good defense. I don't expect good things at all. If they do anything, it's CMC, but DJ Moore, I think he can go to your bench this week. That's how far I'm going with him. All right, Chris, Let's keep going. One more bust pick.
Well, a lot of people drafted Tom Brady. Like, they waited on quarterback. They got Tom Brady with one of their last picks, and they thought, okay, this is great. I got Tom Brady. But I said all offseason, I think Tom Brady's going to be a bust this year because Gronk retired, Chris Godwin coming off the ACL. They didn't really have anybody else. I mean, Russell Gage is nice, but he's not a difference maker like an Antonio Brown or a Chris Godwin or anything like that. And so far, Tom Brady has busted. 400 yards total through 2 games, 2 touchdowns total through 2 games. And it's not going to get any better in week 3 because now he doesn't even have Mike Evans. Chris Godwin, we know, more than likely going to be out, still dealing with that soft tissue injury. Evans suspended. Julio, who knows if he can even play, already missing a game in his second game back. He's dust. It doesn't matter. So now he's throwing to what? Russell Gage, Rashard Perryman, Cameron Brate. I mean, there's not a lot of weapons here for him. Like you said on the Booms video, you said it's going to be a Fournette game. I agree because they're going to have to lean on Fournette. He's going to have to be the entire offense. And then this isn't the best matchup for a QB either because this Packers secondary is really good. This defense is really good. So to me, Tom Brady, once again, going to bust for the 3rd straight week, cannot be started in 1 QB leagues.
Yeah, look, if you watch our quarterback tight end start sit, we both said Tom Brady, we're going to put him on our bench if we can. You also would have heard me say that about Kyler Murray, which I know is shock to some because Kyler Murray we expect to be one of the best players in fantasy. But look, the reality is he hasn't been. For the first 2 games, again, I know he's missing weapons, so maybe you say it's not all his fault. He's still missing those weapons. DeAndre Hopkins not coming back for another few games. Rondale Moore is out. Not that I think that's going to even make a major difference. Maybe without their top running back, James Conner. Look, this offense just isn't great, okay? So last week, 277 yards and a touchdown. That's really not moving the needle much in fantasy. That rushing touchdown kind of saved his day. And yes, he's always capable of that, but you can't count on that because you never know what's going to happen. This is going against the Rams. Pretty good defense, I would say. Look, he's just not a guy who's performing at an elite level. So in a tough matchup, I don't expect great things from him, okay? This offense has me worried. I mean, if not for that comeback, and really it was more of a letdown for the Raiders than it was this great performance by the Cardinals, I mean, we wouldn't even be talking about, we'd be talking about Cliff Kingsbury being on the hot seat, Kyler Murray being a bust, okay? So I still have my doubts about this offense, and Kyler Murray, honestly, I would sit him this week if I could find a better option. All right, now you know about the players we think will bust. What about those guys who are going to smash and help you win? Check out this playlist right here for all our advice on week 3, who to start and who to sit.